Right, so our humans are kind of our good beginner classes. They're really well-rounded, so they can do a lot of different things. If you want to go close combat fighting, you can do that. If you want to stay back and do ranged fighting, you can do that. You're not really locked into a specific character type. Your casts are going to be your pure powerhouses. So these guys are androids that are either really strong at physical fighting or really good at ranged fighting, but they can't use any type of magic. And then finally, you've got your Newmans. These are best suited for kind of your advanced players because they're harder to play, and if you get tackled by monsters, it's pretty much over. But they're really good for support. They can do physical fighting. They can do not so much range fighting, but they do a lot of magic like supporting, healing, buffing, and they can also do offensive magic. So we're going to go ahead and just take a quick look at actually do our Raymar here. So when you go through and you create your character, you can pick from different head types. You've got different hair colors that you can go through, costume colors, skin tones. And then one thing they've added that wasn't in the original Phantasy Star Online was actually the voice type. So you can go through and actually pick what kind of voice you want your character to have.
Yeah, I got it.
So. And then finally, the little floating dude right there is called a mag. Mags are kind of like a little pet that will accompany you throughout the game. And you can feed it items and weapons and armor that you don't need. And it will gain stats as it grows, and as it gains those stats, it will actually increase your stats. So you feed it the kind of stat buffs that you want to have, and you can pick different colors for it, and it'll change into different shapes and different looking forms as it evolves. So we're actually going to jump straight right now.
So all that is dependent on like human versus cast or whatever, but that second level choice we had, that was really just about what our character looks like.
That was, primarily.
But it was just aesthetics, right? It wasn't, like, stats weren't dependent on that?
No. Character creation is totally just aesthetics.
Awesome.
So, one thing that does change based on your race, though, is the way that the storyline offline plays out. So I'm playing as a Newman right now. And this race is actually from the moon. So the way, like, my storyline from beginning to end is completely different from someone who's playing as a human or someone who's playing as a cast.
Okay.
All of the storylines will change. The way that people interact with me is also different. And then the choices that I get to make as I go throughout the game are also totally different. So the way that people, like, the girl on the right here is also Newman, so she'll react a bit more closely to me because we're both Newmans. Some of the hunters or the humans out there will react differently.
Sorry, how different is the storyline? Is it the same basic storyline except? I mean, is like the plot basically the same? It just depends on your character, or is it completely different? Like, I'll need to replay it to get everything out of it.
It's different enough that you'll want to play as all. If you're a big fan, you'll want to play as all three races and beat it just to see the different choices that you get.
Okay.
You'll go through the same areas, but as far as what you're going to hear, what people are going to say, it's all different based on the race.
Cool. Yeah.
Every time.
So, like, if you like the game, you may not want to replay it, but if you love it, like, you can get pretty good freaking playthroughs out of it.
Probably, if you like it, I still think it's probably enough for people to want to go back.
Okay, cool.
Once they check out the beginning, you'll see every opening movie is completely different too. So all the starting stuff. This is an example of the choices you get to make. So she's asking me what I think of the weather right here. I don't like rain, so obviously I hate it. And she agrees. This is really hard for her to take. So we'll skip through some of the dialogue there and just get to the combat.
Yeah.
This, in my opinion, is one of the best parts of the game. So the way that combat works is really similar to Phantasy Star Online, but we've got those 3 buttons here, and those just correlate to 3 buttons right in here on the DS. So the one on the right is A, and then left is like my heart attack. I can also roll to kind of dodge. So when you fight, you want to time out your attacks. Phantasy Star is not a game for people that like to button mash and hope they can win. Phantasy Star is a game for people that like planning out their attacks, timing it. So when you fight, I'll tap A, and then I'll tap it once more, and then I'll tap it a 3rd time to do my combo. And then you can also hold it down, and it'll charge just like that. And then when I let go of that, we'll do a special move on those guys.
So it's real time.
It is. It's an action RPG, so all of the fighting is completely real time. You don't push buttons and watch your character do it. You're actually in there fighting.
Okay.
So it's all skill based as far as that goes. One of the best things that Phantasy Star really has going for it too is the fact that it's all completely multiplayer enabled. So you can play the offline story and go through all of that, and then afterwards you can play local wireless with your friends.
Okay.
Just like this, or you can actually play online. It's got free online play with anyone else in the world.
Is that co-op or competitive?
It's all co-op.
Okay. Is there item trading?
The way that item trading works is a little bit different from most games, but I'll explain how it does work out. So if we were to clear a room, let's say you and I are teaming up, and we find a box or a treasure chest or something, and we open it, what will happen is items will pop out, but they won't be the same items for both of us.
Oh, okay.
So instead of me like grabbing the rare you wanted, you get to pick up all the stuff, and I get to pick up all the stuff on my screen. They've also added a little chat feature here. So if you're going around playing with other people and you want to talk to them, you can type out, send it up, and they'll see that. And I've seen some pictures. We played with the Japanese developers a while back, and there are people that will spend hours drawing these like really, really intimate like anime faces and like let's go and all that stuff. Really cool, but not something I have the time for personally. But really cool stuff. So if you want, we can actually fire up some multiplayer if you want to get a feel for it, see how it plays.
Yeah, cool. And then, do you know approximate release date and playtime?
Yes. This is coming out in November.
Okay.
Of this year, sometime around November 10th. Playtime is going to vary a little bit, but you'll be getting probably at least, I would say, 8 to 10 hours per storyline.
Okay.
If not a bit more. It depends on really how much you want to get into it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the online multiplayer is where the real meat is at.
Yeah. Is there a lot of incentive for grinding or for exploring?
There is actually, like, weapons, for example. Weapon hunting and collecting is a huge part of the game.
Okay.
Like specking out your gear, and you can upgrade your weapons, and then once you've maxed those out, you can upgrade it even further. You get materials, which are permanent stat boost to your character, and so you can determine what way you want to upgrade your character so that at end game, like what stats will be your best stats, stuff like that.
Okay.
So it's the stuff that it takes you hours to really get into and start to understand how some of these things work. But
is a skill tree or is it really weapons based?
It's all weapons based.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then leveling up, and you've got like your next level, your Museta, stuff like that. You can customize your palette. You can get different spells, different skills to put on there.
Okay, those are the 3 primary buttons.
Yeah, and then if I hold down the right trigger, I actually have an additional palette.
Okay, so it's 6.
Yeah, so you've got 6 at any time that you can use.
Are those spells, or is that just determining the type of sword swing?
That's a spell right there. That's a healing spell. So if I hold it down, I can also heal my friends or other players I'm teaming up with.
Okay, so do you always have the sword swing? Or is that...
You can actually take it off if you want.
Got it, okay.
Yeah, I play with forces like the mages that will just completely remove those to do pure spells.